Today, we're going over the 3 most common ways to trim a brisket. Let's go. Welcome back to Comparison Cooking. My name's Kevin, and today we're gonna go over the 3 different ways to trim a brisket. You got your regular backyard barbecue brisket trim. That's the one we're primarily gonna be covering today. You have the catering trim. I'm gonna walk you through what that looks like. And then third, you have your competition trim. So those are the 3 most common. And today is part of a 3-part series where I wanted to show you the trim part, but then the second video is going to be the smoke part and how I do that. And the third is going to be my final finishing touches for backyard barbecue competition brisket. That's the brisket you want to pull out when your friends are coming over. They've had tons of briskets at restaurants. They're used to that traditional Texas style brisket, which is delicious, but we want to add something for when they come to our house and they leave the party. They go, damn, Kevin, when are you going to open up your own barbecue shop? So I'm going to show that in the third video, the finishing touches of how to make your brisket really pop and have your friends going, wow. But today for this video, I want to keep it short. So let's jump right into trimming the brisket. No matter which method you're looking to do, the catering style, the competition style, or just the backyard simpler style, you're looking for aerodynamic, all right? So what does that mean? You want your brisket to look like a football, aerodynamic. You want it to look like a sports car. You don't want, you see my elbows right now? You don't want anything looking non-aerodynamic. You want the smoke to be going over it. Anything that it can hit and stop is just gonna burn off and it's gonna be terrible. I know with how expensive briskets are today, you don't want to trim away any of that precious poundage, but it's the best thing you can do because some of these pieces, when they look odd and are not shaped properly, they're just gonna burn and it's not gonna be any good. So let's get to trimming this brisket. First thing I want to do is just pat this down so it's easy to handle. Now I want to do a quick inspection just to get an idea what I want to do. You can see this meat here is oxidized or something from the cryovac bags. Here is a little bit of an issue, so we'll get to that, but right here, you can see this piece in the back that's just not going to cook right. So this is about the aerodynamicness and making this into something the smoke can go over instead of, you know, hitting certain pieces in the back here, depending on which way you're facing. I mean, this thing right here is just going to burn off, and plus it's a lot of fat anyway. So we're going to start with the backyard barbecue brisket trim. And then we'll move on. This piece right here is going to do nothing but burn off. Now I'm going to save all these pieces for later. I'll either make tallow or I'll do something else with it. But this seems like a painful process because you spend all this money on this brisket and then now you're just cutting away at it, some good pieces too. But it's just gonna burn off and it's not gonna serve you well at all. Yeah, this right here, look at that, all fat. Trying to get rid of all that oxidized meat. And on this back side, there's just so much fat. So it looks at first when you're cutting, but I'm barely losing any meat. This is all stuff for making beef tallow. As you can see, it's starting to have a better shape already. Now what do we do about this piece here? I like to trim it down and make it Oh, I hate it already. I'm gonna use this word aerodynamic all damn video, ain't I? Sometimes I trim it down a little bit more, but since it's my backyard, I want to keep a bunch of this on here. A lot of people don't think this renders, but we can take it down a little bit more. All right. Now, we have all these pieces on the top, as you can see. And we have the silver skin. Some people will remove all the silver skin. We'll get to that. Let's keep shaping this brisket to where no matter which cut we decide to do, we're going to already have the shape that we have. All right. So you can see right here, tons of fat. This section here is pretty good size compared to really poor select briskets that I've done, but this is just gonna burn off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna help give this shape and round off this edge too here, because I also wanna know which way to slice with the grain later. All right. And this part right here, like I said, is just not gonna cook as much as I want it to, and I've tried and I tried, it just doesn't, so I'd rather use the meat for ground later or whatever I want to do with it. All right, this looks a little out of place now, so I want to round that off, make it look a little better. And now we got a lot of fat. This is the fat vein that separates the point from the flat right here. So we'll see what we want to do with that, but miss a spot here. You can see how fat this is, and this is the point section, so it's a fattier piece to begin with. Now these trimmings they can all be used. So even though you're not cooking it up right now. I have the general shape. Now let's go over the differences of the backyard brisket. This silver skin, sometimes I leave it on, sometimes I want to do a practice competition run and take it off. But for caterers and competition guys, they will remove any imperfections. Caterers, not all the time, and for everyone, backyard, caterers, and competition people, everybody does it a little different. This is a general opinion that I've heard from a lot of people, a lot of caterers, a lot of backyard people, and a lot of competition people. So take it for what it is, but some people do it differently. So calm your pants, Susan. All right. I am gonna remove a little bit of this. Like I said, the caterers I've talked to, they would probably remove this. They will also take this chunk out. Now, the caterers I've talked to, they want, when they're slicing their brisket after they're cooked, they want as little fat on it because they don't want to be trimming fat. They don't want their board greasy as all heck while they're working on cutting, slicing, getting it prepared for the party. So they will sometimes make the cavity here where they really remove a lot of this. They're gonna remove a lot of this fat, and I am still gonna trim here, and I'm gonna show you that, but they will make sure that a good portion of the fat is gone. So when they're slicing for the party, the guests, they're ready to go. So that's pretty much it for the cater cut Just going to, from the ones I've talked to and worked with, they're going to remove a lot of fat because it's something they don't want to deal with later. They know the seasoning and the smoke and the protein is going to be enough for the party because they normally have a lot of other sides. So they're not necessarily trying to make a brisket that's just going to, they want a very good brisket, but they want to get rid of the fat cutting at the end of their cook. They want that to all be gone already. Not all of it, but a good portion. For me, I like a lot of fat on it. So I actually, they say years ago, they're like, that won't render down. It renders down if you cook it right, but it's just gonna make my board completely greasy. The competition guys and gals, all right, they'll normally flatten this out. They will make sure to get the fat down to the proper 1/4 inch. They're looking for that perfect brisket presentation. So that's the size, maybe a little smaller than that. They want to go all around. All right, they're going to definitely remove any of this because they get one bite opportunities for the judges, and they don't want the judge potentially biting on a tough piece of silver skin that didn't break down enough. From what I've done in my backyard, most of the time I have not had an issue, but I wouldn't risk it in a competition. I would remove all of this, all right? And they will typically flatten this out. Some of them will get down into that cavity, but a lot of people like the aerodynamicness of it. They're going to make sure that the presentation, all right, looking for certain fat that they want to get rid of for potential presentation, they're going to get rid of. But a lot of them will cook, they're cooking for this section here. So they definitely want all this trimmed up so they get that one perfect bite when they're being judged. However, they all want a very similar shape. Actually, hold on. One thing for competitions that I've seen is they will really try to get the edges smoothed out to make it look, for a backyard, I don't mind that it looks this way, but if I was doing a competition, I would really try to circle that out, round it out, so that I had a better selection. For the backyard, I'm not going to do all that trouble because it is a lot of work. Flattening out the edges, rounding them off, and it's my backyard. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to finish this one up and we'll move on to the next video, the smoke video. If you have any questions about trimming, please leave a comment below. And if you like this video, make sure to like this video. And if you want to subscribe, subscribe. I'll see you guys very, very soon.